Welcome to the bold analysis. What I call the emptiness of the state in struggling to explain to the country what happened and how the goons and thugs rained terror into people's businesses in Nairobi, as Kenyans were also killed and attacked in several places in this country, has actually shown that an explanation by the state on who sponsored violence is actually an escape narrative. In this podcast, I'm going to answer that question. And the better of it is, after the live stream was actually cut, international journalists covered exclusively footages of what happened as a matter of looting that happened in different parts of this country. People are giving statements about what happened. And as the government blames Rigathi for what they believe is sponsored, two questions remain. Why didn't the police protect property? And why haven't the state arrested Rigathi? Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for your support. We produce each and every day because of your support. Subscription is absolutely free. There is no money going to be deducted from your account because you subscribe to our channel. The only advantage is when we post our videos, you'll be getting notifications, so you won't miss our analysis. A morning diary, we saw the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen, accompanied by police officers, inspecting business premises in Nairobi CBD, which were looted, some burnt, and properties worth millions were destroyed. And I want to say unequivocally that I think in this channel, I have never at any instant supported hooliganism. Be it who, right? It doesn't matter. I've never supported hooliganism. And the country and the footages of people's investments going down just that way is not something that can be normalized in this country. Something must be done. And we really pray for restoration of those who lost their properties. While in this, the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen was actually telling the police officers about how they should protect the people, and that should never happen again. Let me tell you.
Now,
I tried my best, sir, but walinizidi, ikabidi nirudi kambi, asaidiwa na Madam Grace, anipeleka hospitali.
Pole sana. So mnaona sasa vile, hatuwezi kubali. Nilikuwa naongea na wenzenu wenye wako hapo kwamba hatuwezi kukubali tena polisi apikwe, police station ipikwe ama ofisi ya serikali. Hatuwezi. Hiyo jana ilikuwa ya mwisho. Mmenisikia?
Yes, sir.
Hii bunduki mmepewa hapa, mimi sijapewa. Na hamkupewa ndio ikuwe decoration. Mtu akijaribu police station anakuja kuchukua bunduki, anataka kupiga wewe maisha yako. Jiokoe kwanza. Hiyo story nyingine ya sijui ati ulifanya nini, hiyo tutafanya baadaye na mimi nitakuwa mbele kukutetea.
Thank you, sir.
Tumeelewana?
Yes, sir.
Please, hiyo ya jana ikuwe ya mwisho. Police station na police officer. Unatoroka tu wakati unaona ile yenye uko nayo, hata ukipeleka 5 6 bado ni wengi. Lakini kwa mjinga watu 10 20 hapo wewe unashindwa na hiyo kazi.
The language of that should never happen again is here. Remember, in the first place, it should not even have happened. So telling the people it will never happen again does not make it look better. In the first place, whatever happened should never have happened. And I want to show you the state propaganda machinery that was put on all this. Do you know, while Murkomen was in CBD, Matiang'i, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Eugene Wamalwa visited those who had been injured in Kenyatta National Hospital.
So we know where.
And actually, even lying requires a bit of common sense.
Yes.
Because the question is this. Ask yourself this, and then by the way, we shouldn't make excuses about public responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if the opposition are organizing these things and causing this, unangoja filimbi ya nani kukamata hao watu wa opposition?
Kamata wote.
Yeah. If you have facts about it, you are saying so and so is funding this, so and so is funding. Why are you telling us a story? It is a statecraft 101.
Yeah.
Government officials, whether they're cabinet ministers or anybody, should never, ever make allegations. Why? Because they have the instruments of power, they can act. So they make allegations and tell you to do what? Because you cannot arrest those people. Instead of telling us if so and so is doing this, tell us, arrest them and take them to court and produce the evidence that you have so that these people face the law. So let's not make excuses. That's why I keep saying for us. I mean, I personally will not budge high or bend from responsibility on matters such as this. So where there are facts, let's go the direction investigations will check out. But you can't wake up every morning and say it's John who did this, it's Mary who did this, and you are the one who has powers to arrest that John and Mary. Why can't they arrest him?
They visited those who are actually in Kenyatta. Parents are also crying in different mortuaries when they go to see the bodies of their children. And just so much has happened. So as Matiang'i team were in Kenyatta, the government is only pushing on the hooliganism and destruction of property. And high-profile propaganda is being put, and even the lives lost. If you see the way Kimani Chunga is talking about lives lost, he's so casual about it. According to Murkomen, he is actually running a propaganda that out of the 400 people that were injured, 300 are police officers and 100 are civilians.
What unfolded yesterday was not a protest. It was terrorism disguised as dissent. There was no peaceful demonstration. It was riots, chaos, and anarchy. Let me therefore state unequivocally that we condemn the criminal anarchists who, in the name of peaceful demonstrations, unleashed a wave of violence, looting, sexual assault, and destruction upon our people. More than 10 Kenyans were killed. Investigations are ongoing on the numbers and the circumstance that this happened. Over 400 were injured. Close to 300 are police officers. Some left with injuries they will carry for the rest of their lives. Key government installations and offices were targeted. At least 9 police stations were attacked, 5 of which were torched, including Dagoretti, Molo, and Olkalau, to name a few.
Is that even true? When you go to Kenyatta, the report is so many were actually injured, civilians. And that one, someone is flip-flopping the statistics so that he can show that the police were actually under siege. Let us go to, I want us to go to CBD. There is a footage here that was done by an international journalist, a BBC journalist. And I want you to look at that footage here.
Whatever is happening here is very interesting because we're seeing a group of what we could refer to as gangs and goons using clubs, and they're beating someone right in front of police officers. Police officers are not doing anything. In fact, as you can see, they're driving away. Now, there have been questions about the identity of these people who have been identified as goons, and who the questions are, who is arming them, and why do they have such power to beat civilians right in front of police officers? So the question is, who are these men and why are they moving with so much command? As you can see, they're still beating
In this footage, you can see goons with rungus are actually around that place, around that OTC. They're wreaking havoc and booting up people. And that is the place that was vandalized, the OTC supermarket that was vandalized. The police are actually driving away from that place. Yes. The police are actually driving away from that place, unbothered of what is happening. And it's true that that journalist has exposed a snippet of what exactly happened. I'm not privy to security operations, but I think it would have made a more critical sense that as the police were engaging protesters, if the protesters were being engaged on one side, did all the police stations, were they closed so that they could also not be seen? No single police officer, the ones that are seen there are not even bothered of what is happening. Did someone allow intentional laxity? In this other footage, here, the civilians and not civilians, goons are actually using police vehicle. Goons are using police vehicle. And you can see the spin narratives when Murkomen is saying that goons were ferried from Nyeri, Kirinyaga and somewhere and dropped in town, or rather dropped in Thika Road.
All these goons who were brought all the way from Muranga, some of them were brought from Nyeri, some were brought from Kirinyaga, most of these goons were left in town. Some were left in Thika Road. And so as they were going back home, they caused immense havoc last night in Thika town, looting people's businesses, mugging people, robbing people in Thika town, and some on their way to Kajiado also caused a lot of havoc on their way. So, and the police were really overwhelmed because now they were doing some of this work in darkness, especially some who, on the onset of this darkness, they came back to the roads to try to rob motorists and other citizens. It has not been easy when such number of goons and criminals and thieves and thugs and robbers are concentrated in one area, collected by these politicians. It's not easy for the police officers to be able to maintain law and order.
So it is on their way back that they wreaked havoc. I am not disputing, because I cannot verify either, whether this is factual, the facts on this. But the question that I would want to ask at this point, we have the intelligence. If Murkomen knew all this, what stopped them from actually arresting those who were behind it? We saw videos of people from Kiambu in their numbers. Yes, we saw people from Thika. We saw people that were blocked on the other side of Donholm. There was also another barricade to stop the people from Kawangware, and so on and so forth. So, if you want to make it that way, and someone is saying it is targeted, I am saying this. In Parliament, the legislatures, the MPs, were presenting a picture that it is one man who was the mastermind of this, Rigathi Gachagua.
So, congratulate the police for trying to keep the peace of this country. Honorable Speaker, what happened yesterday was not demonstrations. They were not peaceful demonstrations. Those were acts of hooliganism by criminals who destroyed people's properties. Today, There are people in Nairobi and other parts of the country who are facing bankruptcy. There are people who will not be able to pay for their children to go to school or even feed their families because they have lost everything and all their investment as in the name that somebody was exercising their right, their constitutional right to demonstrate. Yes, you can exercise your constitutional right to demonstrate, but you cannot exercise your right while you destroy the properties and the rights of others. That is completely unacceptable. Your rights end where the other person's rights start. And so we must guard our country from anarchy. We must take action against those who attacked our police stations. CCTV footage is available. They should be arrested and they should be charged. Because even if they are our children, they are not permitted to destroy people's properties.
Say here last year during the impeachment process of the former deputy president that this is a dark man with a very dark heart. Very black heart. I dare say today, Honorable Speaker, in this House, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua is the one who directed goons he mobilized to go and murder my parents, destroy my property in Kikuyu, destroy the property of the people of Kikuyu in the name of revenge. Honorable Speaker, we cannot build a country that way. That is why, Honorable Speaker, we are asking the Inspector General of Police. It cannot rest at this. Nobody, not Kimani Ichung'wah, not Rigathi Gachagua, not the sitting members of Parliament in this House, Honorable Speaker, who are doing this work, and some 2 senators, Honorable Speaker. And as Honorable Junaid Mohammed has said, if you look at the trajectory of violence and destruction that visited, you can associate that violence with a particular politician and the area they come from and the kind of thuggery that was going on, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want also to empathize and give my condolences to the members of the community who lost their lives, even the community who lost their properties. Mr. Speaker, as we talk about the riots and looting yesterday, there is one thing we are not focusing on. Why is the country angry? Why is the country angry? The country is angry because the youth do not have a job. The country is angry because there's overtaxation. The country is angry because the government has refused to listen to them. Yesterday it was Raila. Today you are saying it's Gachagua. What I want to tell you is this. Unless we address the core issues affecting this country, mismanagement of the economy,
Nyakundi. Give Nyakundi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, what we witnessed yesterday was pure anarchy.
And that pushing a single narrative. At this point, we need to ask ourselves, there were protests in nearly 27 counties out of 47. How powerful is Rigathi Gachagua? How powerful is Rigathi Gachagua? And we said this last year. God is still giving us life. We are still saying it now. Whatever is happening in this country cannot be simplified, cannot be narrowed to an individual. The country is bleeding and there is a deeper problem. Saying Rigathi Gachagua, I even saw Cecil Mbarire also, saying, going after Rigathi Gachagua.
To one Rigathi Gachagua. And I will tell you, and I do not care how strong you may be, but you will not intimidate me anymore. And I will not stay silent, Rigathi Gachagua. Kama wewe ni Mungu, take my life today. The worst that can happen to me is for me to die, and you only die once, Rigathi Gachagua.
And this is a narrative that has been set, that Rigathi sent goons to do this and that. I am saying this, as I said in my first video, it is myopic, it is narrow, it is an escape. No, it's a temporary escape route to drag Rigathi Gachagua and credit him for whatever is happening. Why am I saying so? 27 counties protested. Yes. There is a deep anger as to what happened on vandalism and stealing in the supermarkets, people breaking into the supermarkets. It was a security lapse. And could be intentional one. If all of a sudden the state machinery comes to tell the country one thing, the only thing they're telling the country is here, Rigathi did this, Rigathi did that, Rigathi was behind it, Rigathi was this. When you tell the country Rigathi was doing it, the one question that someone will then ask at this point is, why didn't you arrest him? And is Rigathi this powerful? Someone is driving a narrative. And this narrative is a very weak one. And while we believe, the whole thing is now being put in a propaganda so that the country should go and hate Rigathi. Even look at the way it's organized. The downtown businesses, most of them are owned by Kikuyus on the other side. But then if so, is Naivas Supermarket in Nyeri owned by Kikuyu? No. Is it that? The boy who was killed in Thika, TTI, Victor Otieno Odhiambo, is that guy Kikuyu? This gentleman you are seeing here was shot, is a student in Thika. In this one frame, you can see him walking around. I was holding, it looks very peaceful. Kwanza alikuwa tu na msichana kwa ameshika mkono. The next minute, this person was shot. OTC supermarket is vandalized. And it is 600 meters is the police station, Kamkunji police station. Then you want to tell the country that someone sponsored it. Of course, what happened is true. It could be true that there was a huge number that was making their way to town. After they were blocked on Thika Road, they retreated. On their way back is where all this happened. But after blocking them, one question that begs is, there are police stations around those areas, and there is an MP from Roysambu who is asking that goons break into shops and the police station just around, where were the police? There is that one MP who asked that question, the MP from Roysambu.
Cooperative Bank, Githurai branch, was broken into. Next to Githurai branch, Mr. Speaker, we have Kasmat Supermarket, a Jubo mega supermarket, Mr. Speaker. It was also broken into. Mr. Speaker, across the road at Githurai roundabout, another supermarket, Kasmat Supermarket, the goons took 3 hours to break into that supermarket. Mr. Speaker, I just wondered, there was no even a single police officer at Githurai, Mr. Speaker, to offer the basic security of minimum security services of crime prevention, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, security was deployed selectively, and I will be raising a statement for the police to explain to us.
So these are the questions that we must ask ourselves as a country. The other thing why I'm saying Rigathi Gachagua is a bit casual is this. When people burnt police stations, Dagoretti, Maradaima, Nyandarua, Kikuyu, there was one in Kalau. Let me tell you, hata maandamano ya Azimio ilikuwa, it was never this way. So much as you want to say Rigathi, but you must get it. Did he organize all this? How powerful is that Rigathi Gachagua? And we are not defending him. What we are saying here is the person that has an answer is not, when you come and tell us it is who did it, so what? What are we supposed to do? Can we arrest Rigathi and present him in the court of law? If you have evidence, why don't you go and arrest him? Instead of coming and telling masses, helpless masses about all this, they're the ones with the responsibility. And it doesn't matter who sponsored it. The question is, why was it allowed to happen? The spillover of the protest, and there is a big danger, and that is what will worry the police, that firearms are getting in the arms of civilians. That I can tell you. Bunduki zitaingia kwa mikono za wananchi. And this needs an internal introspecting. ODM are moving a tired narrative. The vultures here in ODM moving a tired narrative regarding this, regarding that. Come on, tell the president there is a problem. Now, wananchi wamekasirika. Stop making corners of making individuals. Oh, Mundi did this, Junior did that, Danny did. Those names, propelling those names, propaganda of names around is not going to help. Address the software. Don't put a human shield. In fact, name calling is a human shield into something that is really deep. Don't use the human shield. Just confront the reality. The government cannot afford to be casual about this. The capacity of the police to manage this is a problem. By the way, wacha niwaambie ukweli. Polisi hawawezani na wananchi. Wananchi ni wengi. Someone should get that. Polisi hawawezani na wananchi. The number is huge. And let me shock you, or let me explain this. Even the policemen are not so comfortable with whatever is going on. And what William Ruto should actually see is a bit of laxity on it. If someone feels the burden of complaint is on, the burden of proof is on the opposition or regard, that person is wrong. The burden of proof is on the government. It is the government's responsibility to protect people's businesses. And that is why taxpayers' money is being used to construct and pay salaries to police officers. So who else is supposed to give that answer? There are government insiders who leaked intel about all this. Let me tell you. William Ruto must get very wary. There are insiders within government that, because the operation was, what happened in Nairobi and other parts of the country was an intelligence, there was some intelligence lapse. And if they're also not, the president must not be casual, because you're going to ask, where were your police? Were they too busy engaging protesters and then allowed the goons to rain terror on people's businesses? And if you want to run a narrative that and this is what is happening, that Rigathi hired goons to go and attack businesses that belong to Kikuyu guys. Do you think, what will Rigathi gain if we are to go with that? If you are to go with that Rigathi hired goons to attack Kikuyu businesses, how would he gain on that? How would he gain? And these are the things that have been said in the past. When Raila was leading protests, this is the kind of narratives that were there. But it didn't end. It doesn't matter who is talking. By the way, not all got out because Rigathi Gachagua said. Kuna shida. And we must confront the reality. Thank you.